tangent. Old.
Halt.
Hashtag always MGM.
You are approaching the unloading area.
Calm down. AK haters.
But what if it could?
Behold the majesty of the Sistine ceiling.
For the kids.
A salute to all theme parks, but mostly Walt Disney World.
Ha! What a cute ending.
Aloha and
Don't Dillo it.
This is Theme Park Thursday with Dillo's Diz. She is Jen.
Hello.
And I am Frank, and we are here with a change in the program.
That's true.
Jen, at this time, if it is the audio feed on June the 5th, 2025, at this time, please announce the change in the program.
On this day, exactly, June the 5th, the 10-year-old will now be known as the 11-year-old. It's fine.
That's fine.
It's fine. Have both of my kids now fallen on Theme Park Thursdays? Have all three of our children fallen on Theme Park Thursdays?
Probably.
I gotta go back and check that.
Have to check that. But we thought we would start with the change in the program. Why? Because we're going to spend a good portion of this hour trying not to be angry.
Right. So instead you want to start by being emotional. You want me to get emotional and then get angry.
Okay, we're going to be emotional and then get emotional. So it's June the 5th.
Yeah.
On June the 7th, this attraction known as MuppetVision 3D at hashtag alwaysMGM. And don't think Amazon, I don't know that you're calling it Amazon MGM Studios now because of hashtag alwaysMGM. I know it.
Who said that? Where is that?
It's all over the place. Look at the Twitter with the Amazon
MGM
I will not.
Studios. I will not.
The TikTok is Amazon MGM Studios. You look it up right now. Look it up. Look it up.
I don't want to.
Well, we know Amazon.
Amazon
MGM. That sounds like a ring. Should we hashtag Amazon MGM? Oh, I wonder why. I digress already here. 3 minutes into the podcast.
What's happening? It's already chaos.
On June the 7th, MuppetVision 3D will close its doors in the Muppets courtyard forever.
Forever?
The first of many forevers here in the next 60 minutes here on Theme Park Thursday with Dillo's Diz. If you know, and you've been listening, about 6 weeks ago, we paid tribute to Jelly Rolls as Jelly Rolls closed its doors for the final time on Disney's Boardwalk. I'm going to try to keep it together here. So there's going to be a lot of jumbling of the words. The Long Islandese is going to come out while I'm trying to keep my emotions in check.
this is a very moving moment.
So Jelly Rolls closed mid-April. And then we did about 6 episodes straight where we just surrounded ourselves with friends because we were sad.
Yeah. Yep.
We had Dr. J, we had OPP, we had Adam, we had Justin Monorail, we had Steffers, and we had the Stride Sisters all in a row.
Yeah.
Because it took some time to get over Jelly Rolls closing.
You forgot about Adam's fire alarm.
Also special appearance.
Yeah.
And by special appearance, like we couldn't get the smoke detector to leave. Adam's smoke detector made an appearance. And now we are here with a Requiem for MuppetVision 3D. I got my Muppets shirt on that Jeffers sent me a while back. The Jeffers birthday present back in the day. Old sure beats dead. We'll talk about whether MuppetVision is dead within this hour, I'm sure. I have my Muppets Whatnot on screen here.
I think you need to explain this. What is this? What is this on screen with you?
This Muppet here that's next to me. F.A.O. Schwartz, once upon a time, many years ago. What do you think about it? About 15 years ago or so?
I don't know. What is time anymore? I don't know.
Time. Did you gift me with this?
I think so.
Yeah.
I feel like it was more than 15 though, so I don't know, but maybe it was 15. That might be right.
At the old FAO Schwartz in over on 5th Avenue, diagonal from the plaza, which now is like the Apple Store. I don't know what's next to the Apple Store over there now anymore, because now FAO is in 30 Rock.
Right.
So, but
yeah, I don't know what's over there.
Diagonal from the plaza is, in the movie Big with Tom Hanks and Robert Loggia dancing on the piano.
Yep.
That is, that store,
Yep.
right? So back in the day, in the back corner of the store, they had this kind of Muppety creative area where you could design your own whatnots being the term the Muppet Studio was using for extra.
Mm-hmm.
So you could go, and for a reasonable price, I would say, if I recall. I don't think it was reasonable for probably what was a delicate time in the economy. And so this is my whatnot. He does have hair on the top. I'm keeping the hair off of the camera because it doesn't look like me anymore with the hair on it.
Oh, I was gonna say, is he having a bad hair day? Like,
No,
why?
just that, like, I wanted to look more like me. So, and then we named the whatnot Hank, because at the time when we were doing the show, with my fancy theater ensemble by the Mummers, and we were doing a show like based on late night talk. It was a mashup of King Henry's Wives and the movie musical 9 and the Conan Jay Leno debacle. That's how we did shows back then. It was a mashup of things. And so I was a late night talk show host whose name was Henry, like King Henry. And this was Hank, as in young Hank. So maybe I try to find the young Hank theme song that our friend Matt Harvey did. And we'll tag it at the end of this episode. But hence I have a Muppet, whatnot, as it were, and he's present here to guide me through this episode.
Jeffers was saying, what birthday was it?
I bet you that was birthday 35. Well, it might have been Christmas after 35. So that would be 15 years solid. Yeah.
Were you in Disney on your 35th birthday?
Yeah, because that was the year, speaking of the economy being what it was, where Disney was like, hey, if it's your birthday, we'll give you a 1-day park admission ticket for free.
What a time.
So, what a time. Jen worked for the airline at the time. So in the early morning, I did the buddy pass situation down to hashtag always MGM, wherein did see MuppetVision on my 35th birthday. I'm going to keep it on theme here while we're way off track so far. And went to Beaches and Cream for dinner and flew home that night. Saw my friend Ali Flores at American Idol. He was doing the pre-show there.
Yeah.
It was a glorious day at hashtag always MGM on my 35th birthday.
Times were different.
So bringing it back here to the closing of MuppetVision 3D on June the 7th. Jen, we'll try to start this off the way we started the Jelly Rolls tribute. Do you remember the first time visiting MuppetVision 3D, opening on May 16th, 1991? We have a little video to share later from August of 1991, which ties into a lot of things, but that gives Jen a little bit of a hint to see what she does remember of that trip. There's an obvious thing about that trip that can be found in an envelope to this day.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Although I have many early memories of watching MuppetVision, I don't know that I can pinpoint like the first time. And we have talked about this often. We talked about it recently with someone else doing another little chat that we had, but that, watching it, Frank being so much older, we get along just fine, but every once in a while, it's got to play the part of older brother and get me with something. And one of those things was that Waldo says, all these people think I'm talking to them, but I'm really just talking to you. And Frank would, for the rest of the day, be like, he was talking to me. I'd be like, no, he wasn't. He was talking to me. And so, that is an early memory, but also anytime, you know, seeing Muppet Vision since knowing that it was going to close, or even in the past couple of years when it's like, "Ooh, is this going to go away? Are they going to get rid of this?" Uh, is so nostalgic. And seeing the video and seeing the old Mickey balloons and all these things, like you immediately go back in time every time you're there. But I do also recall just seeing the effects that they did in the theater was like, oh, how
Mhm.
they do that? That's amazing. They don't do anything like that anywhere else. And, but it was such a big part of the studios and in more ways than one, because it's what the studios was. It was a little behind the scenes. It was a little movie magic. It was bringing you into the experience of the Muppets, and the Muppets spans all generations and everyone loves them. So it really worked. But to answer your question in a very roundabout way, no, I
Mhm.
don't think I can pinpoint the very first time.
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple of things because I was 15 going on. No, I was going 16 going on 17.
Mhm.
I am 16 going on 17. Jen was 9 going on 10, which means she was younger than the now 11-year-old.
Mhm.
Oh, there you go. And
Yeah.
almost the 8-year-old, almost as old. My 9-year-old, as old as, oh my God,
Insane.
that
That's
when I say it
insane.
like that, that's
That's
all what?
insane.
Wait a minute.
Ugh.
My 9-year-old is the same age as you when you ripped off your toenail? What? So, what is happening in the world?
It's too much.
And the interview that you referenced, I'm sure we'll talk about it in the future,
Yeah.
hopefully,
Mhm.
down the line. But, the studios for me was, pivotal in my
Mhm.
Disney fandom of, oh, am I growing out of the Disney parks? And then this park opens with movies and, which I love, and Disney parks, which I love. Those
Yeah.
two together were essential to my Disney fandom as I know it right now, right?
Mm.
And so Indiana Jones stunt show was a big part of
Yeah.
that. Star Tours opening was a big part of that. And then Muppets opening was kind of like this trifecta of let's just focus on all the things of Frank's childhood that he loves
Mhm.
in entertainment and put them in one theme park.
Yeah.
And that was really all I needed in life until I realized that the Citizens of Hollywood at the front of the park was also something I needed in my life.
Mhm.
And that turned into being a performer.
Your career.
So, yeah, in my life. It's fine. So, in those early days, one, the attraction was popular. So you used to go to the side of the building wait to get into the pre-show area.
Mhm.
It was that kind of wait for that attraction, and sometimes it would be 2 cycles and you'd be on the side of the building because that's how many people going on the attraction. And where I find this phrase cliche, but I'm going to use it. Where Captain EO walked, Muppet
Mm.
Vision ran.
Yeah. Mhm.
And Muppet Vision at that time changed the attraction game
Mhm.
because it was 360
Yeah.
and 3D. And sometimes, the joke was 4D.
Mhm.
And it had all these elements then allowed for Honey, I Shrunk the Audience, that allowed for It's Tough to Be a Bug, that
Mhm.
allowed for filler magic. It was these kind of, as they say, crowd fillers
Mhm.
uh, that became popular over the course of the next 10 to 12 years. But Muppets, more than anything, was in the last pure Jim Henson Muppets
Mhm.
thing that happened. So the fact that he passed away exactly 1 year before the release of Muppet Vision 3D in the parks, it's a time capsule in that
Yeah.
way. And we'll talk about what the tough parts of the attraction closing are, but that's a big one, because, and I've said it in different forums before, I struggled with Muppets Christmas Carol for years because I could not listen to Kermit with a different tone of voice.
Yeah.
And so when I go into MuppetVision and I hear Kermit, to me that's it. As much as it is the end of an era, it was an end of an era in 1991 too. Like it's this preservation of Jim Henson's voice as Kermit. Richard Hunt, it's his last go because he passed away in 1992 also, but it's the last Muppety. We talked to Craig Shemin a couple of times, who's the president of the Jim Henson Legacy. Things blowing up at the end of Muppets things is something that's pure Muppets. And, that attraction to me really is not only purely Muppets, but as comedically sound as any attraction, as the bits, and I stole bits for years from that show to do in other shows, and we'll get into that too. But at that time, 1991, and we'll share some video here in a little bit. That it's the summer of the Rocketeer. During Sorcery in the Sky, it's all these things were hitting at the same time that were whimsical. And seeing the Muppets in this format in a Disney park was just as great as when I threw a penny into the fountain and when I was 6 to wish that all the Star Wars people were there. And that is it immediately became a must do. On our Disney 300 on our Theme Park Thursday 300th episode, and we did our Dillo's Do's. Jelly Rolls was on the list, but MuppetVision's on the list too. It was a must do. It's such, you had to do it. You had to. It wouldn't feel complete to be in that park without going to MuppetVision.
Yeah, 100%.
That was a lot of talking, so I'm going to talk.
Well, you did mention a lot of things hitting at that time, and all I could think about was the door hitting my toenail. So I guess it was all just it was all the same thing.
Hitting the toenail and ripping it back.
Look, okay. Right. Yeah, it 1,000% was a must do, is a must do. And it is very difficult. This is way too much change with Jelly Rolls and MuppetVision happening around the same time. There have been so many changes to the studios. I will call it the studios for now, to the studios over the years. And it is really weird because it's probably something I really need to process and address, of just, obviously we don't like change. We more so don't like change for the sake of change, which, this one feels like that. This one really feels like change for the sake of change. And again, would I have understood a little bit more if you were going the Galaxy's Edge extension route? Probably. Would I be upset that it was going? Yes, but it would have been like, oh, of course, I saw that coming. This feels like change for the sake of change. It just switched over to monsters when the Muppets are so loved and people want more of it everywhere. But it was a place to go and cool off and sit in the air conditioning. It is a place to just laugh and watch a movie for a bit and see the Swedish Chef and laugh at, Statler and Walt. Like it was just pure joy in this moment. And it's just one of those things that stays with you on a trip. And again, something that connects all generations. Everybody loves the Muppets. Everybody has known the Muppets for years. And I don't know. It's hard to explain, but I do see in the chat, there's been some discussion on the favorite character in MuppetVision 3D. And I would like to ask yours.
That's a great question. Since you mentioned the chat here at DillosDizResorts.com, where we are recording on the Monday evening. What is it? Is it June 2nd? Yes. June 2nd here. We are recording this episode just to acknowledge Troy from Disney Assembled over here. Missed opportunity, not saying where Captain EO moonwalked
Right.
I feel like I will not recover for the rest of this episode from missing that opportunity.
Yeah.
And since Lewis mentions it here, I want to be clear, it has nothing to do with the performance of Kermit in any future Muppety project. It is my own personal sadness about Jim Henson's passing, which is still hurts 35 years later. Still hurts, but I know people love Kermit's performance in Christmas Carol and in other Muppet properties as well. But yeah, definitely not a performance note from me. It is a Frank's personal mental state thing.
Yeah.
Favorite character? It's a great question because I think the easy answer is Sam Eagle because he has the best lines. He has the best lines in the he's great in the pre-show. He's great in a regular movie. It is and because it's just quick. It's quick hits, quick hit and run. You might say with his lines. It somehow. It threads a needle in some ways of that show. It is from being outside the theater and into the theater. It is a yeah, I'm gonna say it, a virtuoso performance because the lines are so iconic. The glorious 3-hour finale is iconic. The salute to all nations, but mostly America, is iconic. They salute to all nations, but mostly America. Go away. I mean, there are so many things that are.
We gasp after a minute and a half.
Yeah, that on its own is iconic.
Yeah.
It probably should just be a gasp Sam
Yeah.
Eagle shirt. Nobody would get it, but it's glorious.
Yeah.
Oh God, so good. But I know it has changed, things I loved about the show over the years. The fact you could walk into a theater and the first time watching the show, and every time the curtain opens on Statler and Waldorf, like I mean, as someone who watched the Muppet Show as the Muppet Show was airing, because I'm that old, that to see that in person, animatronic or not, every time is like, I can't believe I'm in the theater and these two are cracking jokes.
Yeah.
It's so much of like, so that it was Statler and Waldorf for a long time. When that Muppet store was open,
so good
and full of Muppets merch for
Yeah.
years, I had awesome character shirts of Statler and Waldorf, kind of like this, but black. It was just them with no lines, but it was a black T-shirt with like nice etched, drawing of the two of them. I had one like animal like that for a while because I was a big Baby Animal fan, so I had an animal tee for a while too. But there was, and I think that's what's shocking too is the lack of animal in the attraction.
Oh yeah.
Especially where Muppet Babies was the 80s there, and you felt like the kids going to that show would have known all those characters there. But I will say this, underrated, because I got to watch the pre-show more often in March when I was there because I went there so many times. But Scooter in the pre-show, he's providing some stability for all the craziness around him, and I think that's an underrated thing in Muppets lore as it is.
Yeah.
So I pass it over to you.
I mean, I'll yes and everything you said because I agree with everything you said. I forget who mentioned him, so apologies to the chat, but someone mentioned Beaker early on. And Beaker as Waldo is being created. I love Beaker anyway, and so as he's being created is hilarious to me. I do also think one day a separate episode has to be a deep dive on just how much you loved Animal. I think that probably should be a spin-off episode of some sort. We kind of forget sometimes, just how much Animal was a part of our lives for a little bit. I don't know. So, and I do see some hate for Bean Bunny. And so I am here because I am yes-anding everything Frank said. So I don't want to repeat all the things he said because I agree with all of them. Listen, Bean Bunny. He goes, Come on, that's iconic MuppetVision. What a cute ending. You can't like discard that for MuppetVision. I understand. He's running away, like, oh great, everybody's got to look for Bean Bunny. Okay, he's so cute up there, and he has a good line, and he has a. We have to give him credit up there. Seeing the Swedish Chef, behind us. Granted, I think had MuppetVision stuck around, perhaps that ending may probably need to be changed. But that's hilarious that he's up there and you could turn and not everyone would always know it. You might miss him on a trip if you were sitting at the wrong angle or might not know that he's there, but everyone would be able to turn. And just the ways they did that with Waldo's eyes coming out to like point you to turn around and look in the back. It's just all
Yeah.
these little things that they did to create that experience in that theater where things were happening all around you at all times and both balconies were going. Swedish Chef was behind you. Things were happening on the screen. When explosions happened, the theater,
Yeah.
changed. There's so much happening and not in this overwhelming way, not in a too loud or too crazy way. Like it's perfection in that theater. Yeah.
Jeffers with a great point here in the chat, because we were going with the Requiem for MuppetVision for a while, but that might have to be the subtitle now, and we should just put in the quotes, "What a cute ending," as the episode
A
title.
cute ending.
Yeah, I didn't realize maybe until we started doing this podcast that Bean Buddy had the animosity that was known.
Yeah.
Beaker is a great point. And there's a lot of this show, this attraction that as over the years you start picking up a little more and things like that. And I just remember, and I'm not going to remember it right now, but I felt like I would try to sit and interpret what Beaker was saying, in the moment, and it would make myself laugh sometimes. Like that's, I would choose separate viewings to do different things. The Orchestra of Penguins when
Oh,
they
yeah.
come up and play Flight of the Bumblebee. When Bean Bunny's going buzz, buzz, buzz. Like
Yes.
those little things that came
Mhm.
up over the years
Yeah.
was very good. And I think because you expect Miss Piggy to be Miss Piggy.
Mhm.
The whole, song in the middle of, sometimes I will probably say that's the time where I like, okay, I'm not going to pay attention for a couple minutes. I'm just going to relax.
Mhm.
Is during the Miss Piggy musical number.
Yeah.
But that it is such a perfect middle of the movie sequence.
Yeah.
And really, takes you from the introduction. It's like a perfect act 2 in some
Mhm.
ways, like a 3-act play.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about Miss Piggy more over the weekend because to me,
Like you do.
like I do, because first, I'm a big MASH fan, right? So
Mhm.
Loretta Swit
Mhm.
passes away on
Mhm.
Friday, and which to me is a huge deal because Margaret Houlihan was such a fantastically crafted character from
Mhm.
start to finish. And to me, like I'll say it here. I couldn't write it out because it didn't sound right ever. But Princess Leia and Margaret Houlihan are like
Mhm.
my icons. So that
Yeah.
everything I look towards, like stage characters
Mhm.
and how women are portrayed in theatrical things I have devised over the years. In back of my head, I'm always like Princess Leia or
Mhm.
Margaret Houlihan, always. But there's also this parallel comparison of the mid to late 70s where you could look at what Margaret Houlihan was doing and
Mhm.
how Loretta Swit was playing her versus Miss Piggy at her most comedic moments, at their
Mhm.
heightened most "oh, I'm over it" moments.
Yeah.
They're both brilliant
Yeah.
comedically, and I'm never there's no disparaging either one there.
Yeah. Mhm.
But I always found that comparison like, huh, I wonder if one is pulling from the other or what, like
Mhm.
one is an homage to the other. One loves how one like I always it's something I never seen asked. I never seen
Mhm.
anyone but it's something I have always wondered because the time period is the same.
Yeah.
So with Miss Piggy in that scene there, it's so perfect, and like I said, it's a perfect act 2 of that. Almost, and you could also say it was an intermission for me. Sometimes I'd be like, okay, I'll take it easy for a little bit, but a perfect middle of the movie there with Miss Piggy.
Yeah, and whoever pointed out what happens during that scene, it's funny and annoying at the same time because I could never watch it the same again. But
Ever again.
like,
Once she takes off on the water ski, jet ski, whatever, she got the handles and then gets pulled away.
gets decapitated. It's fine. I do also want to point out as we go through this episode, saying Statler and Waldorf name is very difficult for Frank and I just laugh every time I go to say it. I go, I can't do it, and then I hear you're saying it nice and slow, and I'm like, we are just trying our best.
Waldorf, yeah, it's hard.
Statler,
Waldorf Astoria.
Those are the types of things that really get us New Yorkers with the accent. Yeah, but I agree. And it's also, there's also the bubbles would come down during that. So your attention is kind of taken away a little bit because now it's becoming interactive and all the kids especially love the bubbles. And although there have been plenty of times where those bubbles didn't seem plentiful, and that would be a Papa Dillo cutbacks. They don't got enough bubbles, So, I mean,
they don't have as many bubbles this time. Did
cutback.
water hit you when he did the flower? No?
I didn't get anything. They not doing it anymore? We should have got him on this episode to talk about what he thinks about the Muppets. You know what? This weekend we are seeing him. I'll see if I can get at least some sort of clip because we'll be seeing him on the 7th on the day. Can we get Papa Dillo's reaction to the closing of a? Yeah, they're closing everything.
Yeah.
Maybe
you could go over there anymore.
So there's going to be nothing there. What are they doing? What are they putting there?
Yeah. What's that? What's Monsters?
Yeah. He has no idea what Monsters.
He has no idea what Monsters. No way.
Oh, has he seen Monsters Laugh Floor? Maybe. I don't know.
I took the now 9-year-old. I was with them. I took her in after People Mover with the intent because she wanted to do it because she was big on Monsters Inc. at the time. She was 2 going on 3. And if you watch, I have a video of her on the People Mover, and you can tell she's ready to fall asleep. So she passes out in the laugh floor. I don't think they came in for that. Maybe they came in for the first show, and then I stayed in the theater while she slept and watched laugh floor back to back.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if they were there for that first show. That would be the only time I could think of that that I was there that they saw.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
probably doesn't know. Troy bringing up a great one. The arrow being shot into the balcony effect was one of my favorites. Oh, good. Even that sound, just the sound.
You hear it. Yeah. Yeah, the little nuances that you could pick up with every performance, and we've talked about it a lot here over the years, where I wish I could have worked with Sweetums just one time, just one time. It's an area of. It's funny because I'm a rule follower, so. Yeah, there's break rooms everywhere, all over the place, across these theme parks, and the Muppets break room is a place I never stepped foot in ever. And much like you, who didn't want to walk around the utilidors because you don't want to see anything.
Correct.
I was like, no, I'm not good enough to go into a dressing room or backstage area that I'm not doing the show for.
Yeah.
Like it's right up there with never performing in Spectro Magic as as a regret of my time as a cast member.
No, but we couldn't ruin the magic. That was too much magic.
No, I was like, if I was doing it, different story. But I didn't do it. No. I'm not gonna bother Sweetums. But I did ask a lot because there was opportunities. I was like, I can go over there if you need me. I won't go home yet. I'm done with my shift, but I can go over there.
Sweetums need a friend? No?
Yeah. How tall are you? 6 foot? Nope.
I can be taller. You need me to be taller today?
I mean, how many do you need me for? Are they really going to know? They're all
Right.
sitting down.
Right. Nobody knows.
Frustrating.
Lewis saying, I can't believe you all really like the parks after seeing all the weird, real, etc. stuff that goes on. But again, we are also weird and real. So we who as an adult goes, okay, you're gonna work in the parks. You know, you're probably gonna see some stuff and going, no, I'm not. I will do my best not to. I am going to try my best. And I made it a long time without having to see anything until that Chase Visa photo spot came into my building and it ruined everything. Once I was in my building and I would go out the exit back there, I was like, man.
Where on the other hand, my time as a cast member was nothing but dealing with integrity.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And but I will say, Lewis, and we don't talk about it a lot because we're just mostly joking about the mid 2000s. You know, that time between 2000 to 2009, when I moved back to New York, it was hard for me to go to the theme parks.
Yeah.
It was. I don't know if I enjoyed the parks during that time as much as I did prior to.
Mm-hmm.
And then, 2009, 2000, that 35th birthday one was probably the first time where I was like, oh, this is cool.
Mm-hmm.
And running around the park for the day. Like, I really kind of point to that one as kind of like maybe the first step back in some ways.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I would say that there was a period of time where I was going,
Yeah.
but I don't know if it had the same level of magic for me for a
Mm-hmm.
while. And
Yeah.
a variety of my own,
We should probably also do a sit down about that too and have OPP back because he felt that way too after leaving.
Mm.
I don't know if I just wasn't there long enough, like being there for 2 years-ish,
Yeah.
but also not being an official Disney cast member and being an operating participant, that maybe I was a little bit removed. And so maybe the combination of those two things, plus probably just being me, that I never felt like, oh, I'm not going to come back here. But I also don't know, had I not 2 years after leaving gone to work for an airline, how often would I have been going back during those years? Just because of, if I had gotten a different job in New York where I couldn't fly back and forth to Disney very often,
Mm-hmm.
how often would I have been going during that time? And
Right.
and not to say I wouldn't go, but maybe it would have been once a year or once every other year or whatever it was. But I never felt like magic stuff was ruined for me. But I can see where that could happen for some people. And also depending on your experience. Everyone's got different experiences when they're there too.
Yeah, I was reading the Wikipedia page from MuppetVision 3D earlier today, and was reading about how from 2014 to 2016. Now this is the time after I'm talking about, but
Mhm.
they had like promotional stuff for Muppets Most Wanted within the pre-show and things like that. And I was like, well, that's pretty much like the time period. I don't think I went to Disney, especially 2017 for the 9-year-old's first birthday. But before that, there was definitely a lag. So I was like, oh, I didn't see any of that. And I
Mhm.
don't remember that happened.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, similar. I think it is length of time. I mean, for me, it was I thought I wanted to grow more as a performer there and
Mhm.
do new things. So there was a little bit of a bitterness, but
Yeah.
there it just took time. It took time to really appreciate it and love it again.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring up Dr. Val's comment here because
Mhm.
a guy I used to listen to on a podcast, he said they would lean a chair on the back wall and take a nap, and the explosion would wake them up to get to the microphone at the end. Probably not. I mean, listen, I perfected the 26-minute nap because
Mhm. Oh,
in most cases I was on for 30 minutes.
yeah.
I was off for 30 minutes, and for 26 minutes I could close my eyes and and be back at it
Mhm.
before you knew it.
Yeah.
So that's every break room.
I was just gonna say, that's even the operating participants break
Yeah.
room, because the way I would push 2 desk chairs together and curl up on them and
Yeah.
put some earbuds in so I could take a quick nap on a
Yeah.
break. We were
And
all so tired. We're all so
when
tired.
you are on, no matter where you are, I like
Yeah.
and don't, if we're saying this, don't be listening and judging it right now. If you are on, more than on can be on.
Uh-huh.
It is
Right.
exhausting, no matter
Yes.
what role you're playing as a
Yes.
cast member
Even
or
if
an
you're in your
operating participant.
20s, you're like, "Ugh, I'm so tired," from like, "Hi, la, la," then you just go in the break room, you're
Right.
like, "Whew."
But those break rooms were glorious for that
Yes.
reason alone.
Yes.
Uh, Great here. Here's a great question from Troy. If you could revise Muppet Vision 3D, what would you add? Is it plus? Yeah, more of, less of? What do you think Disney is going to do to preserve it? Are we here yet?
I know, I
We-
saw his question, I'm like, "Do we save that a little bit? Do we
yeah,
wait till the end?" I'm gonna think on that one a little bit more.
yeah.
So far, here's the thing, going into this episode, I was like, "I have a lot to say about the Muppets, and I love them so much with my whole heart, and, I don't know if I'll be able to get through the episode." And then I was like, "I'm not preparing anything, and I'm probably just disassociating during this entire episode going, I don't know. I'm gonna miss it. It's really good. Everything's great," and have no actual words during the episode. But so maybe I think on that a little bit and come up with something profound to say, or
What we're
get
really going to do
angry.
is kick ourselves for the things we forget to bring up during the
We're
show.
gonna. I'm forgetting everything. I know I'm
Like
gonna walk
10
away.
times already, I have reminded myself to bring up by the light of the silvery
Ugh,
moon, not the
not the
sun, but the
sun, but
moon.
the moon.
And I mean, you want to point to how great in the 90s Gonzo and Rizzo were together because of Muppets Christmas Carol? No.
Mhm.
There are few moments in the Muppet Vision pre-show
Yeah,
is the inciting incident for all of that, in my
yeah,
opinion.
yeah.
So, the I walk into my
Hello, welcome to my park. Um, I saw some discussion about Pepe earlier.
Mhm.
And just for me, I don't have an opinion on Pepe too much personally, and I almost feel like the Disney cruise got me to appreciate Pepe more. But before that, I feel like I never really had an opinion or felt anything about him. But I don't know how you feel
For
about it.
Pepe?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, to me, and I'm not the Muppet historian here, but to me, Pepe, they tried to, like, okay, Rizzo needs a break for a little while. We're overexposing
Mhm.
him in some ways. And then Pepe became the Rizzo for a
Yeah.
while. And
Mhm.
that's how I view it. Whether that's right or wrong, I
Uh-huh.
look forward to all the mail. But but that's how it comes across to me as
Yeah.
that
Mm.
Rizzo was just so good for so long that they're like, okay, we don't want to do too much that it becomes, you know, it becomes overexposed. So let's just
Yeah.
go with Pepe. Hi, Pepe
Peppy.
for a while.
Peppy.
Pepe,
Just be
I'm Pepe.
Peppy.
I
Um,
have mispronounced so many words here. You would have thought I've had some alcohol, and I have not.
we should have for
I
this
should. What
episode.
if we could?
Jeffers saying Muppets from Space Pepe is amazing. And you know
Mhm.
what? I probably need to rewatch Muppets from
Yeah.
Space. It's probably one that I have not seen as much as others. Lewis saying I don't hate Pepe, but I prefer the Scooter year. So that's an interesting
Mhm.
comparison.
Mhm.
Lewis, do you feel Pepe was like more of a replacement for Scooter? Is that the
Mm.
I don't know.
Or do you go
I
Scooter Rizzo? I don't know.
right.
Yeah,
And who's on the bike in the background? Is that Scooter
Janet.
and Janet? Mhm.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay. That was always good too.
And that was always, like, surprising to me too, because the Orchestra of Penguins is great, but speaking of what's going to happen with the Muppets here, that the Electric Mayhem wasn't in the pit
Yeah.
for that was I remember in the early time of Muppet Vision, I was like, how come this is Penguins and
Yeah.
not the band? But it probably would have
Mhm.
been more probably a little more costly for
Yeah,
to
that's
do
true.
perfectly manufactured animatronics
Yeah.
in the guise of the Electric Mayhem. But we'll
Yeah.
see what they do with the roller coaster. Jen will not see it, but
I will not. Should we show our video? Should we
oh, we
do that?
should show the video. Yeah. So Are we gonna be
All right,
able to do this here?
I think I'm gonna do it because I still think si some backstage stuff. We tried to bring up the video. I could hear you.
Mhm.
You could not hear me, but that's because I was on the other thing. But maybe here we can hear
Right.
each other. So I'll still bring up the third window
Okay.
and then play it over there and see if we can hear each other.
But that
We'll
will
see.
be muted, right? Because you don't want the
Yes,
feedback,
correct.
which is fine.
All right, so we'll see. But I think everyone else should be able to hear it.
And
Just
we
us.
should say, as we intro this video from August of 1991, the first person you will see is Louis Gravance, who we have had on the podcast, and not as Shelby Mayer, his
Mhm.
more renowned citizen to Hollywood, but character, but as the cab driver. And so you see him briefly here. He used to
Mhm.
sing into everyone's camera all the time. And then it jumps right into footage that we have from August of 1991.
I'm bringing up this baseball photo here, which is still from last year when I had the 10-year-old, now 11-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
All right, here we go.
Some Muppet Courtyard footage from 1991, August, with a little New York backlot to boot, the streets of America, as it were. This is all we really have of the attraction and the surrounding area during this trip. So what's going to be fun, I think, is that you will not see the Miss Piggy fountain.
Mhm.
You will not
Yeah.
see Pizza Rizzo. You will see the some of the things you remember about the early days of the attraction. But look how glorious these and lifelike this.
So lifelike. It looked exactly like it did back home.
Hey, welcome to New York.
Forget about it. Oh, easy ass
I mean,
friend.
now we're just bringing back everything right now.
I know. Just do it all. Lewis, I saw you say that you can barely hear the audio of the video or us because there's not much audio in the video anyway. It's just sort
Yeah,
of the background
just
crowd
ambient
noise.
noise.
But yeah. Jeffer saying, why does video from the 90s look like it's actually from the 50s? It's a great question.
Something we ask ourselves all the time, Jeffers.
Mm.
But what was funny about this video camera, I don't think this is the video camera. I got a video camera senior year of high school. So I think this is still like a rental. We did like a rental period of,
Mhm.
you could rent from the camera shop up front for a while.
Yeah. Yes.
But the humidity always messed with the, with the lens and what you were recording.
Yeah.
Everyone's video looks so much better, but I think some people know how to restore video better than we do.
And if you're listening to the podcast as we talk about this, I think we'll put up this video on the YouTubes as
Yes,
well, so that
it's worth it. I was going through this video earlier this morning, and it's chock full of greatness that we have to post. The Mardi Gras parade is on there. The Spectro. I think it's bookended by like the Electrical Parade and Spectro. It's on the same disc that I have.
Okay.
So here we are back to the front of the building with the old sign, the Kermit sign.
Oh.
The balloon was still on, it was on the building at the time that they took away when Galaxy's Edge came in. So, right, no Pizza Rizzo.
Yeah.
No Piss Piggy Fountain at this time. No Gonzo's Royal Flush at this time.
What was at Pizza Rizzo? What's over there? Do you know?
I think it was just like a quick serve at the time. I'm gonna have to pull up
Right.
a map, and I meant to do that before we recorded.
It's definitely not Pizza Planet yet. So.
It wasn't Pizza Planet yet.
Yeah.
That happened somewhere in that 96 range. But
Yeah.
this is the lovely hour. There we go.
Yeah, I saw that Troy said, look, nobody on a phone, the good old days. No one's planning their Genie Plus or just texting friends back home. No one's making TikToks. Who would do such things now?
Yeah. But that was our early exposure to loving that courtyard, even without the Miss Piggy fountain and all the other surrounding areas yet. No Baseline Tap House around that area yet. Nothing. No Grand Avenue.
Yeah. It's and instead it is that whole area though was one of the few areas left in the park that feels the same way the area around Star Tours does
Mhm.
and Indiana Jones does,
Mhm.
where it just feels a little old school. It feels spacious. It feels um just nice and cozy. But, having that Muppet store was crazy. That Muppet store was everything for so
Mhm.
long. And once they started phasing out Muppets
Yeah.
from that store, it started to drive us a little crazy. But as we mentioned, we both ate at Mama Melrose's in
Mhm.
2025 as a
Mhm.
final farewell. And that is a massive restaurant. And I am guilty of not showing it enough attention over recent years and
Yeah.
decades, and
Mhm.
not really since the 90s. But again, that's another place where you felt like you could go back in time at the studios a little bit, and it was big and roomy and good food. And also, you see the pictures of the celebs on the walls, which to me screams old school studios
Yep.
and Epcot Resort area, because that used to be in Beaches and Cream too. I mean, you
Yep.
seeing celeb photos in places was like the coolest thing to me wherever we would go. So, like the
Yeah,
fact that
it
it's
added a
still there.
different dynamic, right? The
Mhm.
footprints in front. I mean, they're
Yes.
still there and everything, like the handprints in front of the theater, the pictures. What was on that video a little bit after? Because then January of '92 came after the
Mhm.
August of '91. Like that was when the Beauty and the Beast stage show
Mhm.
debuted. When it was still before there was a Sunset Boulevard, so that
Mm.
theater was still off to the side of like where you first would go down
Yeah.
Sunset Boulevard. It's crazy. Just I was like, oh my gosh. So there's so many things that we have to like get to posting. I'll probably require this kind of an introduction
Mhm.
in the future because yeah, I mean we've said it many times, but if you're listening for the first time because you're like, let's see what these two old people have to say about Muppet Vision closing, you know, you take the friendship boat from the beach club at 5 o'clock, you hit the Citizens of Hollywood set at like
Mhm.
5:20ish. You do movie ride, you do Star Tours, you do Muppets. Maybe you get maybe dinner at Mama Melrose's,
Correct.
Sorcery in the Sky.
Mhm.
Inflatable Mickey that everybody has on their lawns now because Mickey inflated on top of the Chinese theater in 1991. That's why everyone has these inflatables at the holidays now. It's
Papa Dillo, we're looking at you.
uh, that was your perfect evening at the studios.
It's probably where the Disney breeze was born.
It could be that and 9 o'clock illuminations is
Mhm.
basically the
Ugh,
two places
so good.
across the world showcase promenade.
It's
Um,
time to go back.
and that was it. So this theme park Thursday thing started because the movie ride was closing. That's how we did that in 2017, and then we opened it. So now movie ride's gone. The turnover into Galaxy's Edge was happening around that time. Backlot had closed. It is. We joked about hashtag Save the Muppets throughout the tenure of this podcast.
Mhm.
Uh so that leads us into what happens now. Um,
All right. Troy also has another good question before we
uh-huh,
go back to his first question.
uh-huh.
Without MuppetVision 3D, the studios felt like a half-day park. That area was great for eating crowds. Mhm.
Yeah,
So, like, are you asking if now will it feel like a half-day park? I feel like is that
I mean, I
I
think we can
don't
debate. To me, this will sound wrong. I mean, it's different. It depends what you like, right?
Mhm,
But if you go, they just opened the Little Mermaid show, reopened
mhm.
Minute Maid, and Villains Ever After, whatever they're calling it, show.
So
And we tried to open these two things 10 days before, 12 days before Muppets closed to make you forget that Muppet Vision is closing. So if you go to the park, and depending on, and nobody approaches it this way anymore, right?
Mhm,
But if you went to the Frozen sing along, to Indiana Jones, to Little Mermaid, to the Beauty and the Beast show,
mhm,
and the Villains show,
mhm,
you have taken a good portion of your that is more than a half a day right there
mhm,
with 2 meals in
mhm.
between. So that's without the attractions.
Yeah.
So I know the shows aren't everyone's cup of tea,
Mhm.
but in some ways, like, and that's, and I know we joke a lot about the animal kingdom, but
Mhm.
Lion King and Nemo, I want more of that in that park too. I
Yeah.
think, am I staying there all day? No. Should there be a show at night? Yes.
Mhm.
But I think I need at least one more of that Festival of the Lion King, Finding Nemo, the musical kind of show there
Mhm.
to really stretch out the day. Am
Yeah.
I going to do it? No. But I digress.
Nate is shocked that you're not better about the timing of the opening of the new shows.
No, I'm keeping it cool for the one. I'm happy that the Mermaid show is back. I mean, that is
What I mean.
Minute Maid. That
Mhm.
5 years that it hasn't been
Mhm.
around.
Mhm.
Uh, I mean, we used to walk by there. It took us a couple of years to see that show because the
Yeah.
crowds waiting to get in there were insane in the early
Mhm.
90s. Insane.
Yes.
And Beauty and the Beast, I think, must have had a bigger attendance, or maybe because it was outdoors and nobody wanted to sit outdoors. I don't
Mhm.
know.
Mhm.
But because you could go into the air conditioner for Mermaid, that was always, that queue was so packed all the time.
Yes.
It just drove us away all the time.
Yeah. I do see Troy is saying that I think he was asking more about the half day in the past. Toy Story and Galaxy's Edge is a huge addition. I think for us, no, it was never a half day park.
Mhm.
Again, back in the 90s, the Dillos did Disney similar to how we do it now, minus the meetups, where we kind of like to take our time with the parks and we try to do the morning and then a little rest or swim or whatever, and then back again later in the day or at night. And that's how it was always kind of set up for us back then. So to go in to the parks, a lot of times we would have an annual pass or a park hopper so that we probably may have been doing 2 half days in
Right.
different parks in
Yeah.
one day, but at the same time, like, okay, so the next day, if we did one night, we might go back the next morning. Like,
Right.
we're repeat visitors to the studios even back then, I
Yeah.
would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for a while, that was the park we went to the most. I think we talked about, like, because we were staying at Beach Club so much, Magic Kingdom was almost our least visited park for a while.
Mhm.
Backlot tour would have ate a good hunk of time too. No, that is correct, Jefferson.
That is correct. So much so that sometimes we would skip the second part and go back to the hotel um, because we would be like, oh, the second part, that's going to take forever. Forget it. Because the second part was mostly the walking part of it
Yeah,
anyway.
we're
So
just
we
excited to
did the
be
tram.
in the Roger Rabbit prop warehouse over there.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, if you did the whole tour every time, that definitely took a good chunk of time. But I think, back then you had Indiana Jones. My goodness, I can't believe how much footage we have of our Indiana Jones
Yeah.
viewings. I'm like, we were there every time. So that and Star Tours, great movie ride. Um, the backlot tour.
Hmm.
I'm trying to think like,
Superstar Television.
oh, Superstar Television. Yes. And then sometimes we would, I don't know how often we did like the animation tour. I guess
Oh
probably
yeah.
not much.
Sometimes, like, the Robin
Yeah.
Williams, Walter
Yeah.
Cronkite like thing was good.
Mhm.
Papadillo, I think, like that. That should be on the list of things to ask him.
Oh, yeah.
And
Mhm.
that's
You
pretty
still
good.
got that? That's great. It's alright.
Uh,
What do you want me to say?
yeah, I think when I saw Mom and Papadillo at the Mets game last week,
Mhm.
uh, the 9-year-old had just seen Night of the Museum and then, like, binged all the Night of the Museums.
Uh-huh.
Um, so we were talking about it and talking about Robin Williams in that, and the 9-year-old was like, uh, like, the guy playing Teddy Roosevelt, he's a really good actor. I was like,
Uh,
yeah, yes, I
oh,
can. And so I was like retelling this story, and Papa was like, yeah, you can tell. Like,
yeah.
like,
Don't upset Papadillo.
yeah,
And it was basically riding around the car show, watching people get splashed. Oh, lights, motor, action really changed the park.
I'm not talking about that.
Yeah. You want Frank to
there's
get
a period
angry?
of time I ignore. Right there. I don't know why I'm so angry about it, but that show drove. I'm just not that person for that show. So
You are so angry at that show.
that show, no, it didn't deserve to be there. I'm not saying it shouldn't have been in a Disney. I just didn't want it there.
In that spot?
Yeah.
Well, because they were getting rid of the backlot. I mean, once you got rid of the backlot, everything changed for us.
Yeah.
That's our massive first hit was getting rid of that backlot. We loved that backlot.
Yeah.
That was so cool.
Yeah, I mean, again, and we've talked about it, Muppets Courtyard into Osborne Lights into a hashtag always MGM walkout at night. Come on.
Oh man.
I heard we were joking in our Discord. I don't know, because I know you were out over the weekend, Jen, that I brought up like revisiting some of our old footage and see if we should like debate things, over the footage or things like that. And so a couple of things came up, and Lexi brought up that I should talk about why I hate Fantasmic so much. And I was like, I have zero footage of Fantasmic.
Yeah.
Zero. None. And Dr. J was like, I got some footage to share.
She'll happily. You know what? The episode should actually be Dr. J, her footage, and you, and just discuss your feelings about Fantasmic.
No.
Dr. J, you hear that?
You got to moderate that because it'll be PG-13.
That's okay. We'll put an explicit rating on that episode. It's fine. It's totally worth it. All right, we should go back to Troy's question. I haven't thought about it at all, by the way. So I'm already. So if you could revise MuppetVision 3D, what would you add? More of, less of? What do you think Disney is going to do to preserve it?
Well, first they got to provide a timeline of the Electric Mayhem in Rock and Roller Coaster. Like, I need to know that timeline.
When? This week? It's over. You're closing it on Saturday.
Right. So if they say it's opening next summer, I'm going to need to know, are you moving the fountain over? What's the exterior look like? What are the things you're doing to help create the environment and make it seem less Aerosmithy and rock and rolly and make it more Muppety? So I'm going to need the fountain over there. 100%. There's no reason that fountain should die. Just move it. Figure out wherever the water is coming from over there, because the sprinkler system is everywhere. Figure it out. 2 is, what's so funny is I've never paid any mind to this when it was Lightning McQueen's Racing Academy. I don't even understand the building, but I finally saw the exterior of the building when this villain show opened. And I'm like, oh, they're good. If the Electric Mayhem gets a good response in Rock and Roller Coaster, MuppetVision is going into that area. And they're gonna revise MuppetVision, and they're gonna take away some of the. I mean, Swedish Chef's not gonna point a gun anymore in the theater, and that's what's gonna happen.
It was a cannon.
No, he has the gun first. He shoots the gun at the screen, and then you couldn't hit me with a cannon.
A cannon? Hey, he's got a cannon.
A bit I completely stole for the end of a trial and dunk at the Sterling Renaissance Festival. We had the sheriff go out on a little boat onto the pond.
Can you do that one again for Jeffers when he sees you this summer at the Sterling Renaissance Festival?
Unfortunate. I'll share that video there. So I'll share it in the Discord. I probably shared it once before in the Discord, but worth revisiting considering the week that we're having here. So I don't know what I would do. I mean, right? You would have to update Waldo. I think it's a little dated. I think you can make an argument about Bean Bunny if you want, and see if you can replace it with a different character. Don't bring in Summer from the new Muppet Babies, please. I don't want to see
poor Summer. Can she sing the Feeling song though if she's somewhere?
Listen, I like Summer on Muppet Babies. I don't think I want Summer in the Muppets proper.
No, I know.
Is all I'm saying. No, there's no Summer hate pertaining to the new Muppet Babies.
Yeah, but I think maybe if she's saying the Feeling song to everyone, maybe she needs the fountain singing that song so everyone feels better about what's going on.
But I do think you need some more of the iconic Muppets history involved in it. Like, I think you're gonna need Rainbow Connection in there somewhere. I do. I mean, if they want to bring Scotty out on the piano to play with the penguins, I'm down.
Have Scotty just perform Rainbow Connection a few times a day in the park.
Yeah, just do it. Just gather all the kids around,
Yeah.
like you did, and do it. So I mean, I am not against a revision of it. I'm not, because I think there's enough there that you could listen. It's a perfect attraction. Could it be updated in places? It could. So that's all I would say. I would want to see I would want to see Animal. I would want to see other characters, I think, too, in some capacity. You know, I want to see a little more Fozzie Bear, maybe. I don't know. I don't think Fozzie gets enough love in that show.
That's true.
You, Jen? You? I stalled long enough?
Yeah, no. I still I have to put some feelings. I have to figure out how to sort my feelings. I personally no longer, and never really was, but I did go on it, no longer a rock and roller coaster person. I will not be going on that ride. So if that's it for the Muppets, well, I'm done. Where is the Racing Academy? Where
I've
is
never
it?
gone that far back, right? You definitely haven't gone that far back, but when you go towards Rock and Roller Coaster, I think you gotta keep hooking right.
Oh, right.
Yeah, not to the
That is-
left, not behind Sunset. No, you got to go closer behind Tower of Terror.
Yeah. What? That's crazy. Nope, never been back there. So, what's the building? Is it a store? There's a building, because when we were waiting for you guys the last time you went on it,
Yeah.
there's like this building kind of to the left of Rock and Roller Coaster. Is it a store, or is it just a random building? Is it a backstage building? I don't know
Listen,
what it was.
I gotta do more research, because I never looked at what the Lightning Academy looked like and whether or not they updated the exterior for this show. I have no idea. It looks like the old facade of some studio stuff, the green and the
Yeah.
but Lewis is giving me a hard time saying what I'm asking for is a completely different show. Listen, the show is going away. I don't think I don't know if trying to resurrect it as it was somewhere else is going to produce the same results.
Don't pander to us.
What's that?
Don't pander.
Right.
To,
I
like,
mean,
put the
just
show
yeah.
somewhere,
Just, we're just gonna put we're gonna crowbar this in here now. I think if you want to make updates, you can make updates. I'm gonna need Jim Henson as Kermit in that. Like, you need to save all his lines. You need to bring out, just like you had James Earl Jones record 1,000 words as Darth, so they could put Darth Vader lines together or whatever they did. Like, just pull Jim Henson footage forever if you want new lines, but essentially save the old lines. That's my only request.
I think overall, I'm bitter that it's change for the sake of change. I am worried that whatever they do won't be good enough. I almost feel at this point they just have to come up with something new and Muppety, because to try to like move it and put it somewhere else, that's gonna annoy me, because it's fix what you gotta fix in the building and keep it where it is. But if you're gonna move it over, why? For what? For the monsters?
Yeah.
Again, I like monsters. We don't have to do this. Then put the monsters over there. Okay. So I don't know what the answer is, and it doesn't matter, because they have something in the works or an idea or whatever. I think what worries me is if they do Rock and Roller Coaster, and if they come up with a whole new storyline for it, cool. Like, I'm not anti-Muppets. I want more Muppet stuff. So cool, do that. Even if I'm not going on it, I'm all for it. It's probably going to be awesome. Great. If you're going to like do that and then like have the store attached, which I will totally go into, but if you have the store attached, first of all, make that more Muppety. Great. But like, if you're going to do that and then maybe have like clips from the old pre-show in there, what are you doing? Why? What? Like, don't have that be like an ode to MuppetVision 3D. Like, I don't understand when they say we're still going to find space to like carry the legacy. Are you? Because that's the part that worries me. If you are stabbing us in the heart and getting rid of Muppet Vision 3D, then come up with something else. But don't try to like redo it or something else somewhere else. Ugh, that's probably going to annoy me.
No, I mean, I think the area should be like the Muppet Studio. So they're gonna have to figure out
Mhm,
what to do with that villain show. I
mhm,
they can I don't I don't I guess they were already too far ahead in the process to try to pivot when they decided to close. Again, going to D23 when everyone panicked when the monsters area got no, they're not gonna put it over in the Muppets courtyard. And
mhm,
then they did it, and then they announced its closure. But then you had this whole time this Disney villain show forming. But I do feel like that little nook is the perfect amount of space for something Muppets. And
mhm,
so if it's gonna mean time
mhm,
of whatever they're gonna check the attendance of that show, the
mhm,
villain show, to see how it's doing. And they gotta do a timeline against how they're implementing the rock and roller coaster.
mhm.
So that's my two.
Troy saying, would it be crueler to move it to California or France? Everything's cruel at this point. It's all cruel. They have broken my heart a little bit. And so everything's cruel at this
And they
point.
said the cruise line too. The cruise line was pitched at some point as a
Mhm,
potential place to have a theater with that attraction running.
mhm.
I don't know.
Lewis saying, I can imagine it being moved to a place like the new theater as is, or they make it as a tribute to the Muppet Show. Again, like, okay, so I am good with something else Muppet related somewhere else. But if you're gonna try to, um, I don't mean to curse on the podcast, but if you're gonna half-ass Muppet Vision 3D somewhere else in the park, it's really gonna bother me.
Yeah, and that's the issue, right?
Mhm,
It's as we go back to this original kind of thing, Muppet Vision is this perfect time
mhm.
capsule.
Yes.
It is history.
Mhm,
In this building, they struggle with new evolutions
mhm.
of the entity.
Yeah.
Yet you gotta have if you're gonna try to do something, even if it's a Muppet Show thing, even if you build a theater and go, you're gonna go into this theater because they're trying to save the studio, just like the
Yeah.
Jason Segel movie or whatever.
Mhm.
Again, high stakes, tell
Yeah.
the story. They're trying to save the studio, because they got put in the back corner. I don't know. Could you make those inside jokes? I don't know, but it
Yeah.
would be funny.
Yeah.
But the jokes gotta hit as well
Mhm.
as everything that hit in this attraction, or
Yeah.
you can't do it. You
Mhm.
gotta you gotta find the way.
Yep.
And it'll be an uphill battle, I
Yeah.
think. And that's why I think I would be okay with a revamped version of Muppet Vision, because I think you preserve a lot of those bits still,
Mhm.
and craft around it,
Mhm.
rather than we're gonna put something completely new.
Troy wants a ride video of you riding the Monsters Inc. New ride while quoting Muppet Vision 3D in protest.
Yeah, we'll get that.
Okay. That'll be content. Don't worry about it.
And again, we talk about when I was in Disneyland, I was shocked at the amount of Monsters merch and
Mhm.
people wearing the Monsters merch in the parks, that I was like,
Mhm.
oh, this is why.
Mhm.
They think they can bring this over.
Yeah.
This response of people buying the merch. It was cool merch. I'm not gonna lie. I refuse to buy any Monsters merch.
In the studios.
No.
And again, I like Monsters Inc. I like Mike Wazowski. I like Sully.
Mhm.
I love the Boo GIF. Here's that GIF all the time.
Watching you, Mike Wazowski.
Exactly. We put that up, we print it, and we put it on our ring at Halloween,
Mhm.
while we leave out candy because we
Mhm.
go other places, and we put that up. I like monsters. Nothing against them. This is a corporate decision that I have an issue with. Change for the sake of change that I have an issue with.
Yeah.
I do Monsters Attraction. Do it somewhere closer to Toy Story Land and the Pixar area, and then connect things over there. Do a whole Pixar thing. I love Pixar. don't get rid of Muppets for this, but
Yeah.
you're doing
If you
it
weren't
anyway.
putting Star Wars in that area, you shouldn't
Mhm.
have done anything.
I have to deal with whatever's happening, and I will try my best to deal with it, but right now, I love Muppets so much. I love the nostalgia. It hits us in our nostalgic souls. It is part of our childhood, and it's too much change recently.
Hmm.
So I'm having a bit of an issue.
So we'll be sharing a lot of what Muppet content we have on our on the social media
Yeah.
places all
Mhm.
week. Maybe even at Muppet Stage Show. That was where the Mermaid musical is now. We have
Mhm.
those
Yep.
life-size Muppets. Scary.
Yeah.
But this episode wasn't going to end on a high note.
Mhm. Lewis, are you going to be okay when your children like the new area better? How do you know they will? Our children have Dillo DNA in them.
Hmm.
What do you mean? What do you mean? But it'll be fun. If they enjoy it, that's fine. Listen, they're gonna enjoy it because it's fun and it's Monsters Inc. and whatever. But
It
but
could
I'm
have
not
happened
gonna
somewhere
change
else,
the
Lewis. That's
tune.
the point. They made a lot of bad decisions during this process, and might it turn out well in the end in terms of
Mhm.
theming and design and all these things.
Sure.
Sure.
It's
Maybe.
happening.
What?
Again, I'm gonna say all these things. I'm not gonna not
They're
go
still
in
gonna get my
studios.
money.
Exactly. I'm throwing it out the window to them. But I'm still gonna have opinions.
So MuppetVision 3D closes its doors June 7th.
Mhm.
No more 3-hour finales.
Ugh.
Statler and Waldorf can go to the bathroom.
Mm.
No more Waldo. I mean, there's some good things here.
Waldo did not get any love during this podcast.
No,
Yeah.
but again, as Jen mentioned with her earliest memory, all these people think I'm talking to them, but I'm really talking to you.
All these other people think I'm talking to them, but I'm really just talking to you.
Yeah.
Also bothers the 9-year-old.
While
She
the
gets it.
9-year-old hates Waldo.
She gets it.
Yeah, hates Waldo. We'll bounce it up people's heads.
Boing, boing.
I don't know if we should end it on a Waldo line or not. Wrap up here on Theme Park Thursday with Dillo's Diz, as 2 of the 5 Dillo's must-dos are now going to be extinct. We're gonna have to redo that at some point.
No.
I don't know what other 2 things
They're
we're gonna
still
do.
must-dos. Go find the content on YouTube. They're must-dos. One
Go
way or
take a
another.
picture in front of the new building. By God. Just take a picture on the boardwalk at night and call it a day, all right?
Yeah.
Goodbye, Muppet Vision.
Hmm.
How many times do you think we've seen it? How many times? Would you put it at 100?
Probably. I'm sure. Apparently, the 90s are a really long time ago, so probably.
Yeah. So if it's 34 years, it could be 50. I bet it can't be 3 times on average, 3 times a year.
Yeah. But then some years we probably saw it more than others.
No, when I was a cast member, I saw it all the time.
Exactly.
So I was there every night.
Mhm.
Not every night, but I went. Oh, I have time. I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
MuppetVision.
Yeah.
Glorious times.
When you were hanging out with Woody, where was I?
Hanging out with Woody. Let me tell you before we go. Before that was Pizza Rizzo. Woody and Buzz did Pizza Planet sets inside that restaurant. But before that,
Mhm.
when they didn't know what to do with Woody and Buzz on Christmas Day
Mhm.
in 1995,
Oh.
inexplicably, we were across from Pizza Rizzo, what is now Pizza Rizzo,
Yep.
in Muppet's courtyard.
In a corner.
In a corner, like the Beatles, people
Mhm.
coming out of MuppetVision and
Yeah.
rushing towards Buzz and Woody.
Yeah.
Glorious. But to me, that's 4 years in. The popularity of that attraction went on for a very long time. People don't realize it. I know.
Oh, yeah.
I know it wasn't as much for a long time either,
Mhm.
but it was a very popular attraction for a long time. It spawned a lot of great attractions after that.
Mhm.
And I think everything's gotten bigger and grander over the years. So, but the simplicity of the Muppets and the comedy perfection and the timing and the bits and the setup and punchlines, I don't know. It can't go on that good of a run with an attraction like that ever again. I don't think.
Yeah.
So, but Hank has had enough. So
Yeah. Oh, he's done.
So.
Hank is done.
All right, everybody. Thanks for checking us out here on Theme Park Thursday with Dillo's Diz as we bid adieu with this Requiem for MuppetVision 3D. Jen, how do you think the ending of this episode should go?
The Dillo's Diz podcast is hosted by Frank Cardillo and Jen Cardillo-Snyder. Music produced by Matt Harvey. Logos and video production courtesy of Snidillo Studios. Dillo's Diz Resort is our Patreon with tiers starting as low as $1 per month. You can visit dillosdizresort.com to learn more. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram, X Twitter, and Facebook at Dillo's Diz. Check us out on YouTube by visiting youtube.com/DillosDiz. Don't forget to like and subscribe while you're there. We also have merch available on TeePublic and Etsy. For all this and more, visit our one-stop shop, dillosdiz.com. Dillo's Diz Podcast 2025.